My first place is McDonald's Corners. This is where my family farm's been located for over 150 years. McDonald's Corners is located on the traditional lands of the Algonquin, the Huron-Wendat, and the Anishinaabe. These lands were part of Treaty 27 and Treaty 27 and a quarter, also referred to as the Rideau Purchase. It was signed almost 200 years ago. There are very few resources for Indigenous people in McDonald's Corners. The nearest First Nations reserve is over 120 kilometers away. My second place is Lindsay, Ontario. This is where I was born and where I spent most of my first 10 years of my life. And this is where I came back to and met my fiance. Lindsay is located on the traditional lands of the Huron-Wendat, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee. The treaties for this land is part of the Southern Ontario Treaties and is known as Treaty 20 or the Rice Lake Purchase. It was signed in November 1818. There are no Indigenous resources directly in Lindsay, but the surrounding area has a number of reserves. These include the Mississauga of Scugog Island Reserve, Curve Lake Reserve, Hiawatha Reserve, and Alderville Reserve. My third place is Merritt, BC. This is a picture from the flagpole overlooking town. These are some images from around the area. This is the iconic Coldwater Hotel. Merritt, BC is located on the traditional lands of the Nakapana and the Okanagan. The traditional lands are outlined here in yellow. These lands were never ceded and not contained in any treaty. There are a number of bands in this area: the Nuanchinch Band, the Upper Nicola Band, and the Lower Nicola Band, the Shawkan Band, and the Coldwater Band. As you can see, there are a number of reserves in the area. Several of the outlying spaces make up the Upper Nicola Band, which is made up of 8 separate reserves, totaling over 30,000 acres of land. Here's some information about how many hectares each band owns and the amount of members in each band. And my fourth place is Peterborough. And this is where my son was born and where I live now. Peterborough is located on the site of an Indigenous portage between Chemong Lake and the Otonabee River. These are the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Huron-Wendat, and Haudenosaunee. Like Lindsay, this land was ceded in 1818 as part of the Treaty 20, also referred to as the Rice Lake Purchase. The nearest reserves to Peterborough are the Curve Lake Reserve, the Hiawatha Reserve, the Alderville Reserve, and the Mississauga of Scugog Island Reserve. Peterborough is very in tune with its place on Indigenous lands. It offers a number of resources such as the Ngoji Ijwan Friendship Center, and it's surrounded by a number of important sites, such as the Brock Street Burial Site, the Hiawatha Serpent Mounds, and the Teaching Rocks at Petroglyphs Provincial Park.